Hi, I'm Chloe. 6 months ago, my life was picture perfect. Or so I thought. My husband Eric and I had been married for 8 years, living in the beautiful craftsman house his grandmother left us in her will. I'd spent 3 years renovating it room by room while building my interior design business. Morning sunshine. Eric kissed my cheek that Tuesday in April, his cologne unusually strong. I've got that conference in Chicago this weekend. Think you'll survive without me? I stirred my coffee, noticing his freshly ironed shirt. You've been going to a lot of conferences lately. Third one this month? The real estate market waits for no man. He laughed, checking his watch. Clients expect FaceTime. You know how it is. Is everything okay at work? I asked, trying to keep my tone casual. You seem more stressed than usual. Everything's perfect, he replied too quickly. Just busy. You worry too much. It's not worry. It's interest in my husband's life. I reached for his hand, but he pulled away to check his phone. Important email, he muttered, not meeting my eyes. Gotta run. My best friend May sat across from me at our favorite cafe the next day, eyebrows raised over her latte. And you believe these are all work trips? When was the last time you checked your joint account statements? I rolled my eyes. Come on, May. We've been married 8 years. 8 years isn't immunity from stupidity. She tapped her manicured nail on the table. Remember how he worked late through our entire book club last month? And missed your anniversary dinner for an emergency client meeting? He sent flowers the next day, I said, but uncertainty crept into my voice. Flowers don't make up for absence, Chloe, May pressed, leaning forward. And what about that credit card statement you mentioned last month? The one with charges at restaurants you've never been to? I figured it was client dinners, I mumbled. Chloe, listen to yourself. My brother works in real estate too. Nobody has this many emergency weekend conferences. That night, I couldn't sleep. At 2 a.m., I opened Eric's laptop. We knew each other's passwords, no big deal. His email was still logged in. Nothing suspicious in his inbox. But then I clicked on his trash folder. Hotel confirmations. For 1 room, 2 adults. Dinner reservations for 2. Not in Chicago, but in Napa Valley. And a receipt for a women's bracelet from Tiffany that I'd never received. My hands shook as I called May. I need you to come over. Right now. 30 minutes later, she was at my door in sweatpants and a messy bun. What happened? You look terrible. He's cheating on me. My voice sounded strange, hollow. Look at these. May scrolled through the emails, her face darkening. That son of a... There's more, I whispered, pulling up another email thread. He's been talking to a real estate agent about selling our house. Your house? The one you renovated? His grandmother left it to both of us. But look at this message. Veronica loves the neighborhood. We should list it as soon as possible. Chloe won't be a problem. May grabbed my shoulders. Who the hell is Veronica? I pulled up Facebook and searched his recently added friends. There she was. Veronica Lawson, real estate agent at Eric's firm. All perfect teeth and highlighted hair. She's gorgeous, I whispered. She's a homewrecker, May corrected, scrolling through more emails. And they're planning to sell your home out from under you. What are you going to do? My shock was transforming into something else, something hot and clarifying, like a fever breaking. First, I'm calling my sister Jenna. She's a paralegal. Then, I'm going to make sure Eric and Veronica regret ever thinking I'd be easy to discard. Jenna arrived at my house the next morning with a leather portfolio and a determined expression. I spoke with Raymond Chen at our firm, she said, spreading documents across my kitchen counter. He's the best divorce attorney in the state. You have an appointment tomorrow at 9. I still can't believe Eric would do this, I said, my coffee growing cold between my hands. Believe it, May snapped, joining us at the counter. Men like Eric think with their... What May is trying to say, Jenna interrupted, is that we need to be strategic here. The house is half yours, legally, but we need to document everything before confronting him. How can I document something that happens when I'm not even here? I asked. desperation creeping into my voice. "That's where I come in," May said, pulling out her phone. "I've been researching nanny cams. We can place them in the common areas. Totally legal in this state since it's your residence." "That feels invasive," I hesitated. "More invasive than bringing another woman into your bedroom?" May challenged. "You need evidence, Chloe, not moral high ground." "Raymond suggested waiting until we have all the evidence," Jenna continued, tapping her pen against the counter. "Bank statements, property records, evidence of the affair." "I don't care about the affair," I said, surprising myself with my steadiness. "I care about my house. I put everything into this place." "Then we need to move quickly," Jenna said. "Eric comes back Sunday, right? That gives us 3 days." Later that afternoon, I met with my neighbor, Mrs. Patel, who had lived next door for 40 years. "Of course I've noticed," she said, pouring tea into delicate cups. "That blonde woman has been here at least twice a month since January, always when you're at client meetings. Your husband isn't exactly discreet." "Did you ever think to tell me?" I asked, trying to keep accusation from my voice. Mrs. Patel's eyes softened. "I almost did once, when I saw them in your garden, looking at the property like they were measuring it up. But then I thought, who am I to interfere in a marriage?" "Did you hear what they were saying?" My hands tightened around the teacup. "The woman, she kept saying what a waste it was, such a beautiful house with so much unused space, how she'd turn your studio into a nursery." Mrs. Patel reached for my hand. "I'm sorry, dear." "A nursery?" My voice cracked. "Are they—" No, Mrs. Patel assured me quickly. "She was talking about possibilities, future plans, but I heard your husband say something troubling. He said, 'Chloe always puts this house before starting a family. It'll be easier once we're free of her.'" I couldn't breathe for a moment. Free of me, like I'm a burden to be shed. "Men can be cruel when they're trying to impress someone new," Mrs. Patel said softly. "But remember, this house knows you. Your love is in these walls." That evening, I met Eric's colleague Thomas for drinks. We'd always gotten along at company parties. "I'm not comfortable with this conversation, Chloe," Thomas said, shifting in his seat. "Eric's my friend, and I thought I was his wife," I replied evenly. "Please, Thomas, I just need to know what people at the office know." Thomas sighed, glancing around the bar. "They've been together about 6 months. It's not exactly a secret at the firm." "And the house? Has he talked about selling our house?" "Look, Eric's a good guy who made a mistake." "A 6-month mistake? While planning to sell the home I renovated?" My voice rose, causing nearby patrons to glance our way. "You don't understand." Thomas leaned forward, defensive now. "Eric feels trapped. He said you're obsessed with that house, that you care more about crown molding than having children." I nearly knocked over my drink. "He told you that? After he was the one who kept postponing having a family? After I compromised on adopting because he didn't want to pass on his genetics?" Thomas had the decency to look uncomfortable. "I'm just telling you what he told us." "And you all believed him?" I pressed. "Not one of you thought to question his version?" Thomas stared into his beer. "He's been bringing Veronica to our poker nights. The guys like her. She laughs at their jokes, brings fancy snacks." He looked up, guilt in his eyes. "I know it's wrong, Chloe. I should have said something." "Yes," I said quietly. "You should have." Back at May's apartment, I sat with her and Jenna, finalizing our plan. "Raymond says we have enough," Jenna said, reviewing her notes. "The house was left to both of you, but your renovation work constitutes significant value addition. Plus, Eric's planning to commit fraud by selling without your consent." "So, what's next?" May asked, refilling our wine glasses. I took a deep breath. "We wait for them to come to me, and they will." Sunday afternoon, the doorbell rang. I'd been expecting it, but my heart still pounded as I opened the door to find Eric standing there with Veronica beside him, her arm wrapped possessively around his. "Chloe." Eric nodded stiffly. "We need to talk." "About what?" I asked innocently, blocking the doorway. Veronica stepped forward, a greedy smirk spreading across her face. We're here for our share of the house. Eric tells me you've been difficult about listing it. Difficult? I wasn't aware the house was for sale. Eric cleared his throat. Can we come in? This is awkward on the porch. I stepped aside, leading them to the living room where May and Jenna sat waiting. What are they doing here? Eric demanded, face reddening. Moral support, I replied calmly. You brought yours, I brought mine. This is between us, Chloe, Eric hissed. We need to discuss dividing assets. Veronica nodded eagerly. We've already found a beautiful place in Lakewood. Once this house sells... This house isn't selling, I interrupted. Don't be childish, Eric snapped. We're getting divorced. The house has to be liquidated. Did you practice that line in the mirror? I asked, surprised by my own composure. Liquidated, like our marriage is just another business transaction. That's exactly what it is now, Eric replied coldly. Assets and liabilities. And this house is our biggest asset. Correction, Veronica interjected with a patronizing smile. It's half yours, half Eric's, and Eric has graciously agreed to give me his portion as a wedding present. The room went silent. May audibly gasped. Wedding? I repeated, my voice dangerously quiet. We weren't going to tell you yet, Eric mumbled, unable to meet my eyes. How thoughtful, I said, acid in my tone. And when's the blessed event? Next month, Veronica beamed. Small ceremony in Napa. We're in a bit of a hurry. Her hand drifted subtly to her stomach. Interesting choice of words. Jenna spoke up, opening her folder. Especially since you've already promised Miss Lawson here that you'd sell without Chloe's knowledge or consent. Eric's face drained of color. What are you talking about? I pulled out printed copies of the emails. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? About the affair, the house viewings while I was working, the plans to, quote, handle Chloe? You went through my emails? Eric's voice rose indignantly. That's invasion of privacy. And planning to sell my home behind my back is what exactly? I stood up, surprising myself with my steadiness. Grandmother Wilson left this house to both of us, not just you. She was my grandmother, Eric shouted. And I'm your wife, the person who spent 3 years restoring this place while you built your career. Veronica stepped between us. Look, we can be reasonable adults about this. The market's hot right now. We could all walk away with a nice profit. I don't want profit, I said quietly. I want my home. You can't possibly afford to buy Eric out, Veronica scoffed. Actually, Jenna interjected, given Eric's documented attempt to defraud Chloe, plus the evidence of funds diverted from their joint account to finance your little romance, we have a very strong case for Chloe retaining the house outright. Eric lunged forward, grabbing my arm. You scheming bitch! You planned this! Let her go, May warned, already dialing on her phone. This is my house, Eric shouted, knocking over a lamp. My grandmother's house. You're not taking it from me. Sir, you need to calm down. Raymond Chen's voice came from the doorway where he'd been waiting. I've already documented your assault, and the police are on their way. The family home shall remain with Mrs. Wilson, with no buyout obligation, the judge announced, her gavel striking with finality. Mr. Wilson's assault charge will remain on record, with mandatory anger management counseling. 3 months had passed since that Sunday confrontation. Across the courtroom, Eric slumped in his chair while Veronica glared daggers at me. That evening, we celebrated at my house, with takeout and champagne. The doorbell interrupted our toast, and I opened it to find Eric standing alone, haggard and unshaven. Can we talk? He asked quietly. Just for a minute? I stepped onto the porch, leaving the door ajar. I messed up, he admitted. Veronica left me yesterday. Said I wasn't worth the trouble now that the house is gone. That's not my problem. I know, he sighed. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. Maybe someday we could... Stop. I held up my hand. There is no someday, Eric. There's no forgiveness waiting around the corner. You didn't just cheat. You tried to take my home, my security. You lied to everyone about me to justify your behavior. People make mistakes, Chloe. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. What you did was calculated betrayal, and I don't owe you absolution to ease your conscience. So that's it? His voice hardened. 8 years means nothing? It meant everything to me, I replied. That's why your betrayal hurt so much. But I'm not that woman anymore. The one who would forgive anything to keep peace. I like this version of me better. I turned to go back inside where my friends waited. Chloe? Eric called after me. What am I supposed to do now? I paused at the doorway. That's the thing about consequences, Eric. They're not about what happens next for you. They're about what happened before. Good luck with your new life. Later that night, after everyone had gone, May helped me clear the dishes. So Raymond seemed interested, she teased, bumping my hip with hers. Maybe, I smiled, surprising myself. But I'm not rushing into anything. What's next for you? She asked, drying her hands. I looked around at the house I'd fought for and won, the perfect crown molding, and the restored hardwood floors, the built-in bookshelves I'd crafted by hand. I'm thinking of expanding my design business, maybe helping other women create spaces that are truly theirs, that no one can take away. I like that, May nodded approvingly. From victim to victor to visionary. I laughed, feeling lighter than I had in months. I was never a victim, just temporarily confused about who had the power. Have you ever had to fight for something that was rightfully yours? What would you have done in my shoes? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of women reclaiming their power.